Good morning. What I'm going to do this morning is go through the answers for all 7 problems, and then you can watch the rest of the video at your own pace. No funny clips in this one. It's 4:45 in the morning, and I just don't have the time today. So we'll go through this quickly. Number 1 is D. Number 2 is, which is down here, is G. Number 3 is C. 4 is negative 0.2. Make sure that you're putting in the negative, the decimal. You can also put it on this right side, but you do have to bubble in the negative. Number 5 is F. 6 is D. And 7 is H. Okay. So looking at number 1, it asks for the function where there are zeros at 1 and 4. And I can see here that the y-intercept is negative 4. When we have a quadratic function in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, this last value in our function is our y-intercept. Looking at our graph, the y-intercept is negative 4, so that would be C or D. I can automatically cross out A and B. So really the best way to do this is to graph it in your graphing calculator, and if you do that, you will have an answer of D. In number 2, that is my cat. Number 2 is an exponential function. The form of the exponential function is a times b to the x power. We're reviewing that today. 8a, we did that yesterday. So we're told that a marketing company has an existing 100 customers. Our a value, therefore, is 100 because that's our starting value or initial value. Then it increases exponentially by 5% each month. So this is an exponential growth. Our growth factor, therefore, is going to be 1 plus the rate of growth, which is that 5%, as a decimal is 0.05 or 5/100. So that would be G. So if we put this together, we have our starting value times our growth factor, and then X is our number of months. In number 3, we're supposed to find the total area of the park. Remember that area is equal to length times width. We're given the length and we're given the width. So we need to multiply. So these are going to be multiplying polynomials. I'm going to multiply 2x plus 80 times 2x plus 30. And so then we'll use FOIL to multiply these. And we can combine these inner terms here. Now, this doesn't match any of our answer choices, but I can see that the answer choices have factored out a common factor. So if I look at these coefficients, they have a common factor of 4. So if I take that out, we factor out that common factor. 220 divided by 4 is 55. And actually, I did this wrong. 80 times 30 is 2,400. So if I factor out a 4, 2,400 divided by 4 is 600. That is answer choice C. Then in number 4, we're asked to find the rate of change. So remember that another word for rate of change is slope. right now this is written in standard form, general standard form for linear equations if you're looking at your star reference chart. So in order to find the slope, the easiest way is to rewrite this equation in slope-intercept form. So I need to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract the x from both sides. That way this cancels on the left, and I'm left with 10 minus x. Then I can divide both sides by 5 so that I have y by itself. And then if I divide both terms by 5, I would have 10 divided by 5 minus 1 over x divided by 5. 1/5 as a decimal is 0.2, and this is a negative. Got to keep that minus sign, the negative with the coefficient. So my slope would be negative 2/10. In 5, you're finding the y-intercept. So if I look here, my y-intercept is between 0 and -1. And really it's closer to 0 than it is to -1. It's not necessarily in the halfway in between. So y-intercept would be f. Number 6, I drew a picture for number 6. So if we're looking at number 6, we're told that we bought X pounds of food, okay, and that pounds of food are made up of frozen foods, fresh fruit, and then some remaining other foods like candy. So if of this amount that we bought, 20 pounds of it is frozen. So these are our frozen food, right? So it's frozen food or 20 of these pounds. And then that leaves some amount, we're not sure, for all the remaining groceries. So our remaining groceries are basically x minus 20. So if I wanted to basically, I'm trying to figure out what this remaining amount is, well, I could take the total amount and subtract 20. So this is my remaining. Then we're told that 1/3 of the remaining pounds are fruit. And that's what we're supposed to find, is what's the function to determine the pounds of fresh fruit. So we know that if I were to divide this remaining amount into thirds, right, 1/3 of this remaining amount is fruit. So I could take this remaining amount, divide it by 3, and that would be my fruit. So looking at this, the answer choice is D. Then finally, number 7, we're asked to find the base. So if we look at the formula for area of a parallelogram, it's base times height. We're given our area, and we're given our height, and we basically need to find out what is this base, what is this other factor that I'm multiplying by to get this product, x squared minus 3x minus 28. Well, if I think about FOIL, obviously I can go ahead and divide this, right? To find this missing factor, I could divide x squared minus 3x minus 28 divided by x minus 7. But I can also just use what I know about FOIL. I know that if I'm going to multiply -7 by this last term and this other factor, it has to give me -28. Well, what times -7 is -28? Well, that's 4, right? Because -7 times 4 is -28. So that's really, I'm now left with either H, well, I guess it could be F. So let's slow down. It could be F, H, or J, but definitely not G. Okay. I don't have any coefficient in front of this x squared, so that only leaves me with a possibility of x as this first term. So if this is correct, it's going to be h. But let's go ahead and check it. If I multiply x minus 7 times x plus 4, x times x is x squared, x times 4 is 4x, negative 7 times x is negative 7x, and then negative 7 times a positive 4 is negative 28. So then if I combine, this is negative 3x minus 28. So that means that this factor is in fact the base, because when I multiply it by the height, I get this product. So our answer is H.